This would be part three of my story. Um, so we last left off, I was a runaway, and I ran away from school, home, away from people. Eventually, I kind of lost the feeling for company and love because I didn't have it as often. I didn't feel it that I had it. So at this point, I think I just adapted to it. I just adapted to being alone and away from people. And I was very aggressive at this point. I started building up on an anger and bitterness towards people. At this point, you had to be standing out or real special for me to actually talk to you or be friends with you because I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't do anything with anybody. I was alone. And some part of me, it's how I liked it. And I was alone for probably about like a year. I didn't really socialize with anybody or try to be friends with anybody or anybody try to just talk to me. I just give them the cold shoulder or just leave me alone. And I started acting out back in the foster homes. Just basically making trouble for them. Kind of lying to them, saying like, oh, they giving me like weed or they're beating me or whatever. They're just like I'm trying to make them look horrible because, because I can. I didn't give a fuck. I was done. I was over all of it. I just wanted to be alone. I kind of just had that thought and mentality of I have nothing to lose. I'm going to die tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Like life was just a big ass joke to me at this point cuz I mean, I've been shit on so much by people, family, and like I said, I'm stuck in Ontario with no friends, no family, all alone with my own thoughts and eventually my own imaginary friends that I come up with, but those imaginary friends weren't as I thought they were. I was actually hearing voices and seeing crazy shit. I basically almost develop a split personality where I just switch if a big trauma happens to me, like something like Jurassic happens, I'll just switch and I black out and I it takes over. And it was very hard for me because at this point I was still having suicide thoughts at a young age. And it's not only that like these thoughts would come, but I would also feel it. And whatever the thought I had in that moment in time, oh, excuse me, I just was shocked or shook from it. Like I had like these razors and I thought about just slicing my throat open and I would just like grab my throat as if it happened and I would just snap back into a reality that I'm still normal, I'm still here. Or just jumping out, like it'd be very vivid. It would just like happen and I'm stuck in a trance and I would just come out of it like it felt like 10 minutes of that but was all in like 2 seconds, 3 seconds just. So now I'm just picking at the wall. I'm just feeling alone and hurt. I remember being in the dark was like my favorite thing. Like the lights had to be off, the windows had to be shut, curtains were blocking it, had to be pitch black for me to be like peaceful, adapted to it. There's nothing pissed me off more than night lights or lights or in general. You just the dark was like my safe place. Eventually, I felt like I was probably like looking back on it. I felt and looking at it, if I was looking at myself, I think I was becoming a monster. Had my knives. I liked the darkness. Had those very dangerous thoughts, and I was hurting myself, and I had nothing but hatred towards people, and I just had that pain sitting in my chest for me alone to deal with at a young age. And I've said things, I've done things that I regret to this day. Even though it happened like 10 years ago, I still think about all the regrets I have because it's like unfinished business. It's something I have to deal with. I gotta deal with all of that. And even though I'm only 22 years old, I felt like I lived a very long, painful life. I feel like my mentality is like 60, and I'm just like looking back. I'm like, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have said this. Yeah, I'm sitting here in this current time feeling like I've lived life far from what I am right now, and I'm still this young, and I still have a whole lot ahead of me. I think at this point, too, I think when I was 12, 13 years old, this is when I start becoming more aggressive and more assertive, and this is probably where I started becoming more like the very sturdy, neared version of myself. Like I didn't put up with nobody's shit. I didn't put up with anybody that had to offer me. I basically got into fights because I loved the thrill of feeling pain and beat up on, and I guess it's you're just used to it. Like I mean, if you have went through the pain for so long and you don't have it, you feel almost like addicted to it. You miss it. And what was in that case for me? I mean, probably not for everybody, but in my case, that was how it was. This is probably when I started developing like I hung out with the wrong kind of people. I mean, these people were older. They smoked. They did drugs. They were very violent and almost like gang related. They had bandanas on, and all I know is somehow I got involved with them and I became their fucking not like a lapdog, but the guy that kind of just brought the money, dealt with it, and just like exchanges and you know this like the scout for it because I was like the youngest and I like just looked as if why would cops ever check me kind of thing. I would always steal for them and I would do everything to prove my worth because I wanted to be worth something because at this point I'm just a beat up piece of meat just there. And eventually I went through initiation where they all beat the shit out of me. Had black eyes and cuts and bruises all over my hands and legs, and all I did was just keep getting back up. Every time they did anything to me, I just kept getting back up. Punched me right straight in the face, just fell down. I gotta get up. And that's exactly what I did until eventually like the biggest guy that was there, he picked me up and he was like, you have my respect, and everybody just laid off. I didn't really stay with them long because I just lost interest. I mean, eventually they started treating me with respect and good. I kind of just got sick and tired of it, so I was like, well, I'm leaving. Told them, I'm like, nah, this is not for me, and I just left, and that was it. And I'm pretty sure at this point, too, I went back home, and every bad behavior I did or thought of, I had to punish myself because no one else will. I mean, I was grounded and everything else like that, but I wasn't beat up on. I wasn't hit or slapped or anything. So anytime I felt like guilt or I felt like a disappointment, I remember taking my own belt and whipping the shit out of my back. That also didn't look good from my foster parents because when police or anybody got involved, they saw those bruises and they're like, "Are you beating your kid?" and everything else. And I just straight up told them like, "No, it's me. I'm doing it to myself." Probably that's when I started hitting therapy or like some kind of psychology type of stuff. Just that mind games kind of crap. And I had to meet up with this person and just talk about me, my life, and basically I was the most stubborn fucking person on earth. So I just told them off every time I showed up, and you're not gonna twist my arm and talk if I don't want to talk. I went through fucking hell. Like, there's no way you're gonna get me to talk when I want to talk. So I got kicked out of school. My foster parents didn't let me stay home alone ever, so they always shipped me off somewhere to be babysat or anything. So I was constantly on the go a lot. Uh, at the point, I think I ran away from school, and I was just sitting down somewhere at a park, and I thinking to myself, I had a more like a crush on this one boy, and I was like, how much I would love to be with that guy, but I felt so gross, and I felt not like pleasant about the idea, but I wanted it. So I remember at one point I grabbed this kid's hand and I told him like let's go play hide and seek and stuff, and we were playing and stuff, and then I grabbed his hand and I looked up to him and I said, "Can I kiss you?" And he's like, "What? No, you can't kiss me." And I said, I'm just joking. And eventually, somehow in the end of it, I ended up kissing him, and we became like a secret relationship because we both didn't want to get bullied or picked on or anything. And like literally, this kid was like I lost like my virginity and like most of all my first time sexual encounters and moments with this guy. And I remember I had to move away, and then that was the end of it. It was the first time I felt like loved or cared for, and I lost it once again. Life had a very sick sense of humor on me. As soon as everything starts going well for me, I always lose it. And after that, I remember it was nothing but fucking darkness from there. I just wanted to just fucking die. I just remember I just wanted to fucking end my life. And then I became a mute at this point. I stopped talking. I stopped looking people in the eyes. I stopped being so, you know, a troublemaker or a happy person. I just was so mutual. I was like numb. I was just on a line. That was it. Now I'm into this foster home, a new one. And this woman was a Jamaican black woman, she was my black foster mom. And here is, just looking back at it, it's just with a lot of pain in that, and within the 13 years of me being around. Like, I've been emotionally abused and broken, physically abused with bruises, cuts, and scratches. I've been sexually abused by fucking whoever and whenever. It's like I've been verbally abused because I've been put down and called every name in the fucking book. And all I want is just not to feel empty and lonely. And as soon as I have that, just that one person, it's got to be stripped away from me. Just so alone and so hurt with no one there to show me how to deal with this or guide me, and not knowing what to do with myself. All I knew was just to keep it to myself. That's all I knew. Just to uh, so anyway, I'm introduced to this woman. Let's call her P. So this woman, she showed me her home. She had a basement, like 3 floors. The bedrooms were on the top floor, and the living room, kitchen were on the second floor, and the basement had like the washer dryer and an extra room. And she brought me upstairs and she showed me this would be my bedroom, and I put my suitcases down and I looked out the window, and she had a small backyard, and it didn't feel like home. It just felt, you know, nothing. So this woman was, you know, I'm pretty sure she's witnessed or she sees that I'm not happy or whatever, because I didn't look her in the eyes for like the first few days, and I didn't really talk much. We just, I don't know. It was a very quiet, very mutual feeling. Like, we just, maybe she was giving me time or trying to be patient with me. Uh, Sorry if I take a long time to explain this. It's just, it's a little, I even still think about putting some of the pieces together, because I did suppress a lot. I did put like a lot of my thoughts away so I won't have to deal with it or anything. So sometimes other memories are bursted, and I get a little riled up and overthinking all of it. So this would be the last part for chapter 1, because chapter 2 will be that part of that story where I'm in a new foster home and new people, new friends, new area, everything, because I just moved. I don't know anything or anybody here. So that'll be chapter 2 coming shortly. So thanks for watching and being patient. Just like and subscribe, and I'll try to upload as much as I can.